Tonight in our Northwest Close-Up, the story that began in the 1980s.
A story that started with a woman's rather remarkable claim. She said a 35,000-year-old warrior spirit had appeared before her, borrowed her body, and used her voice to teach.
How much preparation now to call on your entity?
I don't call on him. It's a matter of me becoming alive and becoming at peace and not being nervous.
We're here in Yelm, Washington, to investigate Ramtha's School of Enlightenment, an institute led by local resident J.Z. Knight, who claims to channel the spirit of a 35,000-year-old entity named Ramtha. For over 20 years, students from around the world have paid top dollar to gain sacred and esoteric wisdom. They say that Ramtha's school has shown them a better way to live their lives. Still, others say that it's nothing more than a scam designed to drain naive New Agers out of their hard-earned life savings. Whatever the case may be, it's pretty darn weird. Come with us and we'll show you why.
And I was pretty impressed at first. I thought, it's pretty interesting. This woman can channel this character. Then I found out it was some alien that's like thousands of years old, and then it really got serious.
J.Z. Knight, Tacoma housewife who suddenly comes down with a case of the possession of Ramtha in 1977. This is interesting.
She came, I believe she started doing this work in the 70s or early 80s, and that's when the whole channeling movement started to really gain a lot of popularity.
So it only take a moment or two.
We'll stay quiet here.
Indeed.
Indeed, beloved master. You are well this day in your time?
Yes, thank you. Sit down here.
This is that which is called television.
Ramtha School of Enlightenment is the word compound seems like a loaded term, but I think I'll use it anyway. Basically, Ramtha's philosophy is about how one can access godhood through themselves.
So be it.
So be it.
So be it.
So be it.
The greatest hidden knowledge that wasn't burned, destroyed, or hunted down was a great knowledge. And the knowledge was that every human being was a divine being, and that they have extraordinary powers, and yet ever awakened would never be ruled by any kingdom or any religion.
The first time I listened to one of the videos of her being possessed with this and hearing the things she's espousing, they're not entirely, none of it's new, first off. A lot of it is reiterated New Age ideology, and some of it I could even see being very similar to notions of the will and thelema and the importance of doing your will, being yourself.
Even though I've not been an active member of RSC myself, I can really respect the dedication that the people here have.
So, you judge a people by their fruits. And so far, I've seen some really good fruit coming from Ramthan people. And so my opinion is that, you know, as long as they're doing good and as long as they feel as though they're contributing to society, and as long as they have been touched by that spirit that requires them, or at least has them doing all kinds of good things, I have no problem with them.
Within the walls of the Yelm compound, Ramtha teaches his students how to do many things, such as becoming your own god, using psychic abilities to win at the casino, and using weapons after you've been blinded.
An exercise that I only participated in a couple of times was blindfolded archery. You would knock an arrow in and close your blinders and raise up your bow and arrow, and when you felt like it was just right, you would just hold it there and focus for probably a minute or two at least. When you felt like your focus was right on and you're focused on something you want, that target has become your ideal, that's when you let loose. If you were to the right of the target, it meant that your mind was too focused on the future, not the now. And if it went to the left, it meant that you were dwelling on things of the past. If it went above that, it meant you were unrealistic in your goals. And if it went below it, it meant that you didn't have enough will behind it to actually strive for that goal.
Jay-Z Knight was born in Roswell, New Mexico in 1946. The Z stands for zebra.
Hey Vince, I heard that Jay-Z Knight loves to sue people.
Well, Alex, you heard right. Actually, back in Berlin, Jay-Z Knight once sued a woman named Julie Ravel, who also claimed to channel the entity Ramtha. An Austrian court awarded Knight $800 in psychic damages, stating that Jay-Z Knight owned a copyright on the entity Ramtha.
Wow, Vince. I hope Jay-Z Knight doesn't try to sue us.
Since 1988, Jay-Z Knight has donated over $1 million to graduating high school seniors so that they may pursue higher education.
So be it.
Vince, I've been wondering, where did Jay-Z Knight come up with this Ramtha thing anyway?
Well, in fact, the entity Ramtha first revealed himself to Jay-Z Knight in the kitchen of her Tacoma trailer in 1977.
1977? That's the year Elvis died.
The year we all died, Alex.
I believe that the Lemurian thing may have come out of like theosophy and some of the people back in the early 1900s. It's kind of like an Atlantis that exists within mountains, from what I've gathered from people today.
Lemuria is the Pacific's tale of Atlantis. The ocean people, the people who disappeared on lost island or continent in the middle of the Pacific.
And it's funny because there's a lot of people that believe and position themselves around the Cascade Mountain Range, one of the mountains, just any of the mountains in the Cascade Mountain Range. And that's where the aliens are. And they live inside the Lemurians. From what I've been told from these people is that the Lemurians live within that mountain.
Jay-Z Knight is a LILF, a Lemurian I'd like to fuck.
You know, she's like in her 70s now. She still looks great. So she's talking to some alien, I guess, to keep her looking good. I mean, I should start talking more with the aliens. Maybe that would help me.
And the other fascinating thing about the School of Enlightenment is if you look at the compound in Yelm, it has all this, like, I guess, was it brass or copper all around it? And that's to sort of, I guess, repel the lizard people or the reptilians. And so she's really big into that, which is a theory that David Icke, who's a conspiracy researcher, talks about, like, beware of the lizard people. And he thinks like all the royal family, for instance, or reptilians, and the Bush family, or any family in power are reptilians. But here's an interesting story about that. Is when I worked at the Washington State Lottery with somebody, there was a person there who used to train Arabian horses. And so she trained some of the horses over at Jay-Z Knight's ranch. She wasn't part of the School of Enlightenment at all. And she was agnostic, didn't seem to have any mental health issues. You know, she was fairly lucid. But she talked to me about an experience that she had there. When she was grooming the horses after, you know, running them around, they were getting all spooked. And, like, she was looking all around and she didn't see anything. And then one horse almost, like, hit her, you know, like kicked her. And then she looked back and she saw Jay-Z Knight walking down, and all of a sudden she turned into this, like, weird reptilian-like creature. Now, mind you, this person wasn't into the School of Enlightenment, didn't know anything about this stuff. But she looked again, and it was walking closer to her, and the horses were getting freaked out. So she just grabbed her bag, walked off, and never came back again. But I mean, who knows? You know what I'm saying? It's sort of like wolves in sheep's clothing. You know, it's like people maybe talking about, yeah, beware of the lizard people, but she's actually one of them.
Extraterrestrials from above, reptilian beings from below, spiritual enlightenment from within. The Ramtha School is a paranormal buffet, a never-ending breadstick basket from the Olive Garden. But you're not at the Olive Garden. You're on a psychic spaceship. And those aren't breadsticks. Those are alien probes, served to you by lizards.
Apparently I'm not allowed to have an opinion since I'm not a member. But I've stood outside the gates and called for this 35,000-year-old Lemurian warrior to answer me. And he never does.
Who believes in this crap? Like, honestly. This Halloween, I saved about $600 and I'm gonna buy a bunch of fake lizards and, like, throw them over the gate with a bunch of other friends.
You know, you can look at all of the cults. Scientology does the same thing. They did the same things with, like, Charlie and the Family. You give a bunch of kids a bunch of drugs and have wild orgies and then pepper in some theology and spirituality, and, like, it's just the making of a cult. So, I mean, is she legit? She's definitely a legit cult leader, like, without a doubt. She's successfully done that, but
Well, it's impossible to describe any of this without understanding the belief we had in the days to come, the fall of society, etc. And there was a certain way that we looked out at the outside world as something that was going to collapse and die, and that we were all each other had. We were all that was, going to be after that, because we're the ones that were going to hide safely, and come out in the end. And some of us wouldn't even make it, but it's kind of weird looking out the world that way. You look at everything on TV and just think, these are all people who are not going to be alive 10 years from now.
And then you're playing off of people's fears too. I mean, there's a lot of people that get a lot of money off of playing off of people's fears, whether it's pushing a reptilian agenda or aliens or that are going to take over the world and make us their slave race, or that we are already their slave race, and that if we buy into their metaphysical beliefs, that we can somehow liberate ourselves from the slavery of the alien overlords.
These are people who have been searching. These are people who are dedicated to themselves and their God. These are not people who are crazy. These aren't fanatics. It's not a cult.
I think cults can be good for people, but they can also be as equally detrimental. And as far as Jay-Z Knight and the School of Ramtha is concerned, she's a classic cult leader. She's taking some real powerful truth about techniques to expand your mind, make you brighter, make you more aware, more in touch with yourself, more at peace with yourself. And she's taking a common goal and pieces of knowledge that a lot of other cults use, but she's just putting a twist on it.
I think that the toughest part about growing up in that as a teen was, it's a very formative part of your mind, during that time, where you just don't believe that there's just going to be, everything about society that you see on TV is not going to be around by the time you grow up. I think that was probably the most damaging aspect of it. I wasn't really preparing myself for college or getting in a good career or anything, because I didn't think any of that was going to be around. I, started drinking at the age of 14, and it was kind of a devil may care attitude, because who cares? It's all going to go to waste if, I better drive now because I'm not going to be able to drive by the time I'm 18, etc.
I think it's less important that the spirit is actually truly a 35,000-year-old Lemurian than it is just the fact that, hey, this person succeeded in connecting to something that moved them enough to change the course of their own life and ultimately the course of thousands of people worldwide.
Anyone who kind of makes these oblique, kind of new age, watered down, easily to digest statements become popular with people, because people seek answers. They want something to believe in. There's a huge number of people with a lot of money who aren't putting it into the church anymore, which is what traditionally we used to do. And so now, following in that same tradition of we need to fund the spiritual leaders and spiritual community that we have, we're going to give that money to whoever tells us what we want to hear.
Most of the things I hear people say are evil are usually things that bring people together. Or you find love and friendship and fellowship in a church or in a group. Ramtha is a group. They find fellowship and love with one another, and that's not going to hurt us one bit.
The ram has been a potent symbol of force, vigor, and authority throughout human history. The skulls of male sheep have been found in 8,000-year-old shrines, and the ram has been located in the night sky as a constellation since pre-Babylonian times. The ram is known to symbolize determination, action, initiation, and leadership. The constellation we know as Aries, the ram, was known to ancient Babylonia as the agrarian worker or the hired man. This elevation of the farm laborer to an honorary position in the sky, among the gods, is an indication of the value once placed on such work. Later in the Babylonian tradition, the sign came to be associated with Dumuzi the shepherd, a symbolic shift typical of the Mesopotamian tension between agricultural societies and those based in animal husbandry. But this shift had more than merely economic implications. For while the farm laborer is a populist icon of the value of the everyman in his labor, the ram comes to be associated with the unique heroism of a privileged few. Through the School of Enlightenment, Ramtha resurrects this ancient edict, reuniting the everyman with his heroism and calling on us all to recognize the God within.
Pacific NorthWEIRD!
Thank you for watching Pacific NorthWEIRD's investigation of Ramtha's School of Enlightenment. If you'd like to know more about Ramtha's teachings, please visit their website, located right around here. And now, here is Seattle songstress Jazz Lund with an original song written about Ramtha for our episode.
Greetings, beloved master. Vince, I have been a big fan of Pacific NorthWEIRD for many moons, and I wanted you to know that I will not sue you.
Gosh, thanks JZ Knight and/or Ramtha.
So be it!
What is your message? What is your most important message that you want everyone on this planet to hear, to know? Is there one?
That which is termed, as it were, indeed God, which hath been misunderstood, which hath been taught to live outside of your being, is within your being. And that which is called Christ is within your being. And that which is called life is the grand experience, that it is where the kingdom of heaven is located in the deep.
Flashlight, they try to see your night, and you wonder why you're floating on the sea. But when you try, it takes you to another
Face. What is your message? What is your most important message? Ramtha doesn't like the hair.
He gets in his face.